So if you're watching this and you're a young guy that's in high school or university, and you're actually on self-improvement and you want to take care of yourself and get to your goals, then probably one of your goals is getting good grades, because why else would you be in school or university? And obviously the higher you go up in your high school years, and even when you get to university, the harder it is going to be to get good grades. So that's one of the problems that comes with being in university and school. And it's something that a lot of people just can't figure out ever until maybe like 5 years after they graduate. And so I'm going to tell you exactly what I did to actually get straight A's in my first year of university. And a little story about myself. Like in high school, I was never the person that actually needed to study. Like, I don't want to brag, but like I just didn't find the content too hard. Obviously, some subjects like physics and sometimes chemistry in grade 11 and 12, I had to study it for them a bit. But usually, I would never be the type to like study and sacrifice my sleep. I would never sacrifice my sleep unless it was like from procrastination and I just studied the night before. But then when I made the jump to university in my first year, everything just changed. Every course just became much more difficult and required so much more effort, doing the textbook readings and all the assignments. And there's so much content in each test that it gets overwhelming and stressing. And at that point, when you're in university and you start paying like $10,000 a year, obviously you want to actually get good grades. Why else would you go to university if you're not aiming to actually do good on your courses? And so I'm going to be giving you tips on how to actually study less and get better grades. And this is stuff that I wish I knew in my first year of university, and it's stuff that I had to learn the hard way from talking to like third years and fourth years and people that have already went through everything that I went through, and watching podcasts, Andrew Huberman on how to study. And yeah, so now that I've gotten your attention, then let's just get into the video. And so the first misconception that people have is that doing more is better. Sometimes less is more, because it depends on what task you're actually doing. And this applies for anything else in life. Like, would it be better to like watch so many amount of videos on how to go to the gym and what exercises to do, and then crafting like a crazy workout plan that takes you like 2-3 weeks to actually construct, or just start going to the gym from day one and then you figure it out in 2-3 weeks? Would it be better to just watch videos on how to sell and how to run your business, or just do the task even though you suck at it, and then get experience and practice in it? So the same thing with studying. It needs to be studying that's actually applicable. So for example, if we're being tested on material, then we need to put ourselves in similar situations that will prepare us for the test. So that does not mean just rewrite notes, highlight textbook, read textbook, memorize slides. What it would look like is read a bit, glance over once, maybe the textbook highlights or the notes that you've written before and the slide notes, and then test yourself, practice test. And this is something that I literally heard 2 weeks ago. So I'm giving you all the information I have on how to study in the best efficient way. And he said that testing is actually more important than reading. So there was like some tests that they did that he talked about in the podcast. Andrew Huberman, everyone should know Andrew Huberman. And so the test was people studying for an exam, and they see how well they do on the score. So some people did like a read, or study. And then some people did like a study, test. And some people did like a study, test, or a study, test. I don't know, there's a lot of variations. I can't remember exactly. But either way, the people that tested themselves the most, and they tested themselves like immediately after they learned the new material. Like, let's say today you had the lecture or the class, and then tonight, the same night or the day after, or even 2 days after, you test yourself on the material, then you will have the best memory and the best chance of actually performing well on the exam. And so obviously makes sense, because you're testing yourself and you're not just rewriting notes that you can see right in front of you. That does not require any of your memory, and it doesn't require you to actually memorize any knowledge to just rewrite the same slide notes or read the textbook and just write notes on it. But imagine if after the lecture you looked at the lecture slides and you looked at the title, let's say like the 3 types of DNA or something, right? And then you tested yourself. You don't look at the actual the slide content itself, and you're like, okay, let me think about it. And then you write it down and you see if you're correct or wrong. And the more that you actually get incorrect, the more you're actually inducing and stimulating your learning. And so the more you actually get wrong and force yourself to actually start to remember and get better at getting the things right, the more that's going to induce neuroplasticity and it's going to increase your memory when it comes to that knowledge. And honestly, the same thing applies with the textbook. And I'll tell you exactly how I actually found out how that works. Because last year I had an intro to psychology class, and the professor was a stereotypical like university professor who was like, do this, no deadlines, whatever. Exams are strict. If you didn't get like exact idea right on a written response, they'd be like, nah, you didn't get this exactly right, so then it's not like a full mark. Either way, he was really smart regardless. That's one thing you can say he's strict and all, but he's really, really smart. Like he's a lawyer and a psychologist and a whatever, right? I don't remember. But the one thing that he said is he taught us how to actually properly read the textbook and make notes out of it. And so what you would do is read a chapter every week, right? Each chapter was like 75 pages, by the way. So it was hell. It took me 3 hours every week just to read a chapter for the lecture, because you have to read it before the lecture. And so in each chapter, he would split up the chapter into like 6-7 sections, right? And each section had a title that was a question. And then the content under the actual headline question would answer like the headline itself. And so let's say one of the sections was called, what are the types of like psychological disorders? And so the content under would actually tell you exactly what are the types of psychological disorders. And so what he said was, read a section, not the chapter itself, read a section. Once you're done the section, write the title, the headline, and then answer it without looking. And then after you like write as much as you can think and remember, then go and proofread, check if you're right or wrong. And that way you're actually testing your memory. You're forcing yourself to not forget the information you just learned. And so this technique will actually offset learning, this technique will offset for forgetting the information, I guess when it comes to the textbook, but you can do the same thing to the lecture notes. And then the biggest hack is, like I said, practice tests, practice exams. There's so many they can find online. The university itself might actually have a whole website where they give you old exams. The professors will give you similar questions that will come on the exams or the midterms or the term tests. And the same thing in high school. You can probably ask your high school teacher like, oh, can I get any practice exams? Are there any posted online? Or you can just find it yourself on other websites. Obviously, it's not as accessible when it comes to high school students, at least where I am. But you can search it online. There's like the organic chemistry tutor or something. He has a whole course where he gives you like millions of practice exams. It doesn't exactly have to overlap everything you go over, but it's going to be so much better than just reading notes. You might get away with it in some years in high school, but definitely not in university. And so, boys, don't sacrifice your sleep, because that will make your memory even worse. Do not sacrifice. That's the one thing you should do. Because the information you learn, let's say I learned some information today. It will be consolidated tonight when I sleep. Not the next night or the night. It's mostly going to be this night. So if I want to remember the information I learned today, then I need to get the best sleep I ever had. And so studying the night before the exam and getting 3 hours of sleep, it's not going to serve you, because when you're going to be writing that test paper, you're going to forget everything you learned the night before. And so even studying the same morning of the test won't help. Don't worry, I've been there, I've done it all the time. In high school, sometimes it slides, but even then, it doesn't work that great. And so, yeah, you're not giving your brain enough time to actually consolidate the information into your memory. And so what you do is, after you get a class or a lecture, then you study the notes the night of or the next day. And then do it through mostly testing. You can read, but mostly testing, like minimum 60% of your studying should be practice tests. And so, boys, if you like content like this, then I've actually just launched a school community where I help high school students and university students and young men on self-improvement to actually improve their productivity and get to the goals they want to in their lives. And it's going to be free for a short period of time, and it's going to be paid soon. So if you want to secure your spot and get into the community for free, just click the link down below. And that was it for me, boys. I'll see you later.